Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Going to IEU podcast. I'm your host, Daniela Garcia, and I couldn't be more excited about today's episode. We have a special guest with us, Helena Reyes, who not only serves as the junior manager of the Student Services Department, but is also a proud IE alumni. Welcome, Helena.
Thank you, Daniela, for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So, tell us, what do you do at IE? What department do you work in, and what does it consist of?
Okay, so I am the junior manager for Student Services undergraduate. Our team is in charge of all the immigration and relocation procedures for our IE students. This includes everything regarding to their immigration, so visas and all the bureaucratic aspects of coming to Spain, as well as all the relocation aspects such as health insurance, housing, bank account, phone, Wi-Fi, anything you need to be able to properly move to Spain. So Student Services as a team was created out of a real need to provide an international community a support during their transition to Spain. As you know, IE being so diverse as a university with so many international students, immigration and relocation quickly became a key in the successful transition of these students. We assist them since before they even arrived to Madrid or Segovia, supporting them with their visas and their housing search. And we offer continuous support during their 4 or 5 year programs at IE in matters of immigration, health insurance, banking, or anything related to living in Madrid or Segovia. We even support students after their graduation dates, as we also assist them with postgraduate visa options, as we have 3 office locations, 1 in Segovia and 2 in Madrid, that are destined to be able to provide face-to-face assistance to both undergrad and master's students.
Great. So to get it clear, students can ask questions to your department before coming to IE and after graduating, right?
Yeah, we are part of their entire student experience since the moment they get accepted practically until well after their graduation.
Uh-huh. And so your offices are located in Madrid, or do you have other offices as well?
We have also locations in our Segovia campus to assist Segovia students. And then we also have a location in the master's campus in Maria de Molina.
Okay, amazing. So could you specify what sets the Student Services Department apart from others?
Sure. Student Services is a very unique department, and what makes us different from other universities and other departments in IE is our ability to provide a customized service for each and every one of our students. As you can imagine, immigration and relocation depends really on the personal situation of each student, both in terms of immigration, for example, it depends on their nationality, where they're coming from, what their place of residence is. And then also in terms of relocation, it all comes down to your personal preference. Some students prefer to stay in student housing. Some students prefer to be in an apartment. There's several options, for example, for private health insurance and all these that become dependent on what the student or their family members wish to have out of their experience here. So it's really great because we're in very close contact with their families as well, since the early stages, as I said, until the graduation. So we're also a helping hand for their families abroad that might be worried about any relocation or immigration issue. So it really makes it unique to be able to be a helping hand for basically the entire student experience of our students.
Mm-hmm. So as many students of IE are not from Spain, this is a very important source they have for help. So how should these students contact you?
They can always reach out to us via email. We are also available on phone. We receive a lot of phone calls of students who have questions throughout the day. They are also available to book video calls with us, which is a great way to speak face-to-face without having to come to our office in person. This is particularly helpful prior to your arrival while you're still in the process of applying to a visa or deciding on your housing and all these questions that may come up when you're planning on moving to Spain. And then finally, we're always available in person. We have office hours from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., both in Segovia and in Madrid campuses.
Amazing. You mentioned being an IE alumni. How did the student services play a role in your life as a student?
I started off in Segovia for my first 2 years. I studied international relations, and Segovia was personally the perfect location for me because it was very community-oriented and safe, and it was an ideal place to learn how to live on my own. As an 18-year-old, I felt very grown up when I was coming to Spain with the idea of moving to a new country, a new city, starting my new life. My mom was not as excited as she obviously feared for my safety or my well-being abroad on my own. And I can honestly say if it wasn't for IE's assistance and how they provided a lot of support during my entire process, I don't think my mom would have dropped me off in Segovia. I have to clarify, I have Latin parents, so I have a very Latin mom. So she definitely was very worried of anything that was being abroad. And student services was her point of contact, and I honestly think she drew them insane. But she was actually very grateful because for all the visa purposes, for example, student services is in very close contact with the consulates, the Spanish consulates, as well as with different international offices that IE has around the world, which make your entire process with contacting the consulate and all this visa process super easy and very convenient for us. As I applied in Colombia, and the office there was super, super helpful to us as well. And because of this also, they were really a key aspect of my relocation was actually choosing where to live. My mom was adamant that it had to be somewhere that she would approve of. It was very scary to have to look for an apartment that you had never seen in your life, that you were doing everything online. So Student Services has and provided the resources for me to be able to look for apartments and student housing that was already pre-selected by IE representatives, that was already catered to IE students, and I was able to make my selection a lot easier, a lot safer. I ended up living on campus in the IE on-campus residence of Reyes Católicos. It was a great experience because I was able to basically live the IE community firsthand since I woke up basically next to my classes. But it was definitely thanks to the student services support that I was able to make a smooth transition from my life in Colombia with my mom and with so much help from my parents to living completely on my own in Spain.
So talking about housing, what are some common challenges that students face when they're looking for housing, and how would you help them?
Well, there's a lot of things that come into play when looking for a house. I think one of the first things is like a cultural aspect. When looking for houses in Spain, the market moves really quickly. So it's common for students to maybe come 2 weeks prior to the start of their classes to look for an apartment, and within a couple of days actually finding the apartment they want and booking it. Whilst in other cultures that they are more used to being able to do things really well in advance. So you're used to maybe booking your apartment 6 months prior to coming to your university and all this. So it becomes a very stressful situation to think I'm doing it last minute. So for that reason, we also have this option where you have a pre-approved houses basically that already are pre-selected, that are safe, are not a scam. So it makes your entire process of looking for a house a lot easier. It is also true that a lot of first-year students often struggle with language barriers, or, for example, with dealing with landlords or living on their own. Quite frankly, unless you're really used to and a very independent student, like living on your own is hard. And I think we can all agree being 18 for your first time outside of your house sometimes can be a bit overwhelming. So another great resource we have is the fact that we have student residences, which are great for first-year students because they help you with everything else. Like you don't have to worry about doing your laundry of your bed sheets or your cooking. They have a cafeteria. They have reception that is going to be open 24 hours. You can receive packages, like a lot of things that make your life a lot easier. And in my opinion, coming to Spain is a change enough. So I always say, like, make your life easier. Just go to a residence where they take care of you. It's like, in a way, being with your parents for a while longer. And it also makes a lot more sense for parents, because that means that they're going to be, taken care of and not alone in an apartment for the first couple of months. And then once you finish your first year, you're going to already be an expert on what you like of Madrid and Segovia and the locations and the people, and you're going to already have your group of friends. So then it's going to make a lot more sense to go to an apartment and experience that part of living on your own, having to pay your own bills, having to pay, deal with landlords in Spanish and all this that could be a bit overwhelming maybe during your first couple of months in Spain. So I definitely think housing usually comes down to your personal preference, but in the end, there's plenty of resources available that you have as an IE student. to make your life a lot easier when dealing with all of this.
Sounds great. So moving on to the financial side of things, how does your department assist the students with setting up their bank account and other financial services?
That is usually the main concern for parents, is to have students be able to set their bank accounts here, to be able to have their life in Spain fully independent from their situations back home. In IE, we actually have agreements with two of the biggest banks in Spain, and we're able to open bank accounts very easily with them. Usually here in Spain, it's normal that they require you to have already your NIE card, that is like your student residence card, before you're able to open an account. With the IE agreement, you're able to do that only with your passport. So it makes, you skip a few steps and it makes everything go a lot faster. So within a few weeks, I was able to open my account. As soon as I arrived in Segovia, that was literally the first thing on my list. And it was super helpful. The bank was super helpful. They were used to dealing with IE students. So it made the entire thing a lot easier than it could have been, I think, if I were on my own, especially because I actually, my native language is Spanish. But I think of my other friends and my other students that are like, they don't even speak the language. So being able to have an agreement with a bank actually makes your life so much easier in so many levels.
Mm-hmm. I heard you also help in terms of insurance, health insurance, and other matters related. How would that work?
Well, it really depends on the student because they have a lot of options when coming to Spain. From an immigration perspective, all non-EU students are going to be required to have proof of health insurance. And then for EU students, you have the option of either using the public healthcare system if you have your European health insurance card, or getting your own private Spanish health insurance. In the case of non-EU students, you can do that. Also get a private health insurance, but you can also get, for example, your international insurance from back home. If it covers you in Spain, that's great. But i.e., what we do for you in student services is actually give you 4 agreements that we have available to you with 4 of the biggest companies of insurance here in Spain, to make sure that you have available to you an offer that is also covering all immigration requirements, everything you could possibly need as a foreigner living in Spain. And it's a very complete offer that is meant for students. So it's great. I personally still use to this day the policy I got when I was a student back when I was 18. And it's been great so far, so no complaints there. So definitely that is something that, depending on your situation, you might want to look into. But student services is the one that handles all the agreements. And also, if you don't know how to access a doctor and you're not feeling great, we can help you, with the steps to follow in order to be able to access either the public or the private healthcare.
Great. And since immigration is one of the major concerns for international students, could you elaborate on how student services assists both non-European Union and European Union students?
Yeah. For international students, immigration often is one of the top priorities. We assist, as you said, both non-EU and EU citizens, because all non-Spanish students have a process that they have to complete upon arrival to Spain. In the case of EU citizens, it's a lot easier. It's just a registration. It's called a Certificate of Registration of European Union Citizens. This is something that we assist them with. They can only do it once they arrive, once they're already settled in Spain. And then for non-EU citizens, we do help them before their arrival because they have to apply to a visa. We work very closely with Spanish consulates in different locations, as well as with the international IE offices that help ensure that your visa process goes as fast and as smooth as possible. And then upon arrival, there is the NIE card, the student permit that you have to process once you arrive. This is done usually during the first semester. Usually by winter break, you should be done by this, done with everything regarding your immigration. And then you would have your NIE card that is going to be valid for your academic year. So it is a process that can take maybe a month, a few months to finish. But we are able to assist you every step of the way because we understand there's going to be a language barrier. Bureaucracy in general, I think, in any foreign country can be quite complicated. So our team is basically the helping hand to assist you in every single step that you have to complete. We help you keep reminding you that you have to complete this process, so it's not all on you to learn, a new system, a new laws. So we're definitely there to ensure that your immigration is up to date. In the end, it is each student's responsibility. But it is true that without us, I think it would be a lot harder. If you didn't have, our guides and our constant assistance. We receive a lot of concerns. That's another reason why we have office hours, and we have emails and phone calls and video calls and anything you want to contact us, because we understand that it can be overwhelming, and we are basically here to ease those concerns and to make sure that you are not stressed out of your bureaucratic processes.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of help for upcoming students. It's amazing. So could you share any anecdote or story where the student services team made a significant impact on a student's life?
I think during the pandemic, it was a particularly chaotic time for immigration. Most of the airports were basically collapsing. Like, there was no way you could travel out of your country or in to Spain. There was certain regulations you had to pay attention to. So during that time, it was actually when I first started working for student services. And it was a really interesting experience because we were able to help a lot of students fix issues basically 5 minutes before boarding flights, because it was such a stressful time to have your paperwork in order, to be sure. Constant regulations were changing, where we had to be kept super updated on everything that was happening worldwide to be able to provide a stellar service to our students in these challenging times. So definitely for me, the pandemic was personally one of the most challenging subjects that we had to deal with, but also one of the moments where most helpful I felt in my life, having to solve these issues, and like huge issues or problems where literally depending, it would depend on us to be able to come back into the country to continue your studies and all this. So it was definitely, that for me was definitely the highlight of the situations that we have dealt with.
Uh-huh. So what would you say is the best way for students to stay updated on events or important dates that the Student Services Department sets?
For each student, their immigration deadlines and dates are going to change significantly, because it depends really on your particular situation, on the permit you got and everything. So often what we suggest is that you keep us updated and you contact us as much as possible to ensure that you don't miss any deadlines, because we do have, we will remind you, but that requires me to have updated information from you prior to that. So definitely these deadlines, usually for me, is keep in mind that you need to have your paperwork ready when you want to travel, when you want to leave the country. So make sure you get everything done before your winter break, before your summer break, before spring break. Those are often the times that we suggest students come to us, reach out to us, so that we can make sure that we can create a customized solution that is personalized for your particular plans and situation and everything.
Great. And for alumni, when they've already graduated, how can they stay involved and benefit from the Student Services Department?
For postgraduate options, that is something that we help a lot of students with, because a lot of them want to stay in Spain and or stay in Europe in general and want to do an internship or want to continue their studies. A lot of them go on to do one of our master's programs as well. So we do assist them with the immigration requirements of this. In particular, I think it's very helpful for students who are looking for internships, because as a non-EU citizen myself, I experienced firsthand the struggle that it can be to understand, what type of visas you have available to you after graduation. What's this about sponsorship that everybody keeps mentioning? What other options do I have if I don't find a job? Can I stay? Sometimes even questions of how can I even become Spanish, or how can I stay in Spain permanently? So all these concerns are things that come up during the last years or after graduation in particular, and we are able to assist them. We have agreements with 2 or different law firms that assist students with immigration procedures. So for these things, we usually refer to them. And you as an IE student have discounts and have special prices and free consultations with them to be able to make your postgraduate options a lot easier for you. But overall, we do have some information on what are the options available to you. We often encourage students to come speak to us prior to their graduation, so that they're aware of the options available to them, in particular during, for example, interview process, where they're going to ask if, oh, do you have this permit? Are you able to do this or that? I always say it's better to be informed before so that you have an accurate answer when they ask you during an interview process, for example. So definitely a lot of the IE community stays connected with student services because bureaucracy in the end is a daily life in Spain. So it is a great contact to have with our department.
Well, that sounds like a lot of help for students. I don't know if I'm missing something, but please feel free to add anything.
Yeah, we definitely do a lot. I think it's a unique department. Not many universities around the world offer these types of services and this type of support to this level, at least. So definitely, I think that the highlight of this conversation is to understand that there's plenty of resources available to our IE community for everything that is regarding their life in Spain. And Student Services is basically a partner and an ally that you have throughout your student journey to ensure that your entire life in Spain is as easy as possible, because it is hard to be away from home. So we try to make it, your home away from home to the best of our abilities.
Great. So to finish off, what's the one thing you wish every student knew about the Student Services Department?
The one thing I wish I knew as a student is honestly how much work is put into being able to have these agreements available. Now that I see the other side of things, I understand fully the amount of resources that we have available. I personally didn't feel that when I was a student, I used them to the best of my abilities. So my recommendation and my takeaway would be reach out so that you know what the amount of agreements that you have available to you, the amount of offers that are available to you regarding your relocation to Spain. Because often maybe you don't even know that there's an agreement for something you need. And for me, it has been very helpful to see the other side of things and really understand how many things I could have done easier or faster had I reached out to the student services first.
Well, thank you so much, Helena, and it was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much for having me. It was great speaking to you.